boils and ghouls. Turn out the lights and keep the popcorn coming, because it's time for another episode of Fright Fights Podcast. Fright Fights Podcast. Get ready for your gore gang. Tyler Cavan, Chris Lax, and Mike McKinney tackling horror news, reviews, and fight for their survival. Coming to you from the Fright Fights Fear Lodge. Get ready to sink your fangs into a battle that will make your blood run cold. This is Fright Fights. Fright Fights.
Deep in the heart of the South, at the end of a long, dark road, stands a very old house, shrouded in mystery.
I always heard the rumors, but they never really knew if it was true.
Veiled in secrets.
When the door opened, they were immediately sent back by the stench of death. But everyone was alive.
Then spoken of.
Half of his face had been peeled away. He was force-fed so that he stayed alive.
In whispers.
On dark, stormy nights, they could hear a young girl screaming out in the courtyard.
All of her joints were broken when she was forced into a cage. When they took her out, her joints had reset at obscene angles, so she looked more like a crab.
Now, 4 complete strangers.
I cannot believe we're doing this.
Will spend one night in that very house.
To get proof would be awesome.
I think that my curiosity will probably outweigh the fear.
I feel like really nervous.
If there are ghosts, then that means that there's got to be something else.
Somebody call my name. I heard somebody call my name.
Felt another breeze go by me.
Take a deep breath. It's cold up here. It's cold.
Oh my God.
What? Hold on. Hey, don't leave me. Wait.
What do you think? Someone's gonna jump out and grab you?
There is definitely something in this room with me.
Welcome back, everybody, to a very special episode of the Fright Fights Podcast. And today we are bringing you the biggest reunion ever for the film, The St. Francisville Experiment. It is a very underrated hidden gem, and it's one of those films that, in the wake of the Blair Witch Project, it helped spark the found footage genre. And we have the cast and crew from the film here to talk with you about the making of, behind the scenes stories of the movie. So guys, welcome to the show. And if you guys would like to introduce yourselves, we'll go ahead and get started.
All right. So I'm Paul Salamoff. I'm a writer, director, and St. Francisville was actually my first film as a writer. Even though I'm got a producer credit on it, I was actually the writer of it, and there's an interesting story behind that. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to know about me? And I'm a big sci-fi and horror geek, as you can tell by my room. You haven't even scratched the surface on what I have here.
Well, my name is Troy Taylor, and I was, I'm a writer. I'm an author. I write about ghosts and true crime and history and things. And I was supposed to be the ghost hunter guy. I don't know what the hell exactly I was, but I was supposed to show them equipment and things I don't even do anymore, but it was fun at the time. And I have no idea. I was trying to remember how I got rooked into the whole thing in the first place, and I'm not even sure, but it did turn out to be quite a bit of fun. But anyway, that's my real job is just writing books. That's what I do. So
I'm Ryan Larson. I still live in Los Angeles. I am not an actress anymore, but I was for many years. But for many years, I've actually been a wedding planner and a designer. And I design actually tabletop goods that have been sold in Nordstrom and lots of stores actually across the US and the internationally. So I kind of just took a total left turn. Still creative, absolutely creative, but yeah, I haven't been an actress for a while. But this was one of those super fun things that I did as an actress that keeps coming back somehow.
Wait a minute, they told me none of you guys were actually actors when we made the movie. What's going on here?
Hi, I'm Madison Charap, and I am still an actress. And I have such fond memories of the St. Francisville Experiment, my first time in Louisiana, my only time in Louisiana. We should all go back. That kind of started, I played the part of a psychic. I think I'm known for talking about a lot of white light. And actually, I'm still very involved in things that are spiritual and metaphysical. I do some podcasting. It's called Metaphysically Speaking, and I am very involved in the world of tarot and event planning, and I really, really, really dig that stuff. And I'm okay after the movie. Look at me, I'm still here.
Hey, yeah, I'm PJ. Paul in the movie. I went by Paul, right?
Yeah, in the movie.
Yeah, it's so funny because I never go by Paul.
That's my name.
That's your name. And yeah, and how it's funny that movie. I think I got involved. I think they put me in it because in the interview I just told them how much I like Scooby-Doo, and I think they thought this kid's gullible. He'll go. I mean, here's how gullible I am. It's been almost 25 years, and Troy, I swear to God, up until until the minute you said it, I thought you were a ghost hunter. I thought this all these years. I thought, well,
kind of. I mean, I was at the time. Let's put it.
Okay.
So that was for real. That
Yeah.
actually was for real. I was actually playing myself, and I obviously am not an actor. So I think that's a given if you watch it. I am just not an actor, but I actually did know what that stuff was. I just don't really do it anymore. So
okay.
That's my there.
All right,
so
good.
That makes you feel better.
I really believed you.
I really was a scaredy pants, though. That part really was true.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. There was no acting in that film.
So, Paul, the movie was deemed to be 100% real, where you get 4 people who were, not actors, and they were going to go in and spend time in the house, and everything was supposed to be 100% real. Can you elaborate on what your idea was and how that actually played off for the film?
Yeah, I mean, and that, that is the truth. That is the truth. It was supposed to be 100% real. And look, the way it started was, I had written the story with Dave Parker for this movie called The Dead Hate the Living. It was a full moon movie, right? Yeah. And Blair Witch Project had come out, and everybody was all excited about, you can make these really low budget films and they can, really hit big. And, it was the sort of the start of this, type of these sort of reality-based movies. And they were basically, Full Moon was where this movie actually originated, and they were looking for pitches. They want, like I heard, through the grapevine, they were looking for pitches to do like a Blair Witch movie for real. Like they wanted to do that. So I had come up with an idea. I'm sure I have it somewhere in my archives. And I came up with an idea, and I went in for the pitch meeting, and, I pitched it to them, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work for us. But we like you. We like you. We're not really thrilled with the idea you pitch us. They go, but we have an idea. Would you, be interested in hearing it? I'm like, sure. So they pitched me this idea, which was, the law based on the LaLaurie murders. I loved it. And I thought this was really interesting. And they said that, look, we really do want to do this for real. We want to, bring in a group of non-actors and, sort of do this experiment and see what, the idea was, if we made them believe that they were actually in a haunted location, what let's see what we can do. You know what I mean? And only goose stuff where we needed to goose it. And it was a very interesting idea to me. And they pitched it to me. And so I went ahead and they said, but look, you're not going to get a writing credit because we want this to, you know, be like for real. So you'll get like a producer credit on it and whatever. And there won't be a quote unquote a writer. But I actually did, you know, help develop like what was, because it was going to be a reality show. I mean, it really was. So I was sort of developed like the ideas of what could happen over the course of the night and come up with like the jobs they're going to have to do. And then the idea was there was supposed to be more of a documentary about Madame Lalaurie at the beginning of the movie, but that kind of got like shaved off a little bit and made a little less, you know, less, I guess. So yeah, that was really the genesis of this movie. I mean, it really was with the, you know, the greatest of intentions of it being a real experiment.
The interesting thing was that I actually was a history student. That is true. I was getting my degree. I was getting a history degree at the time, which I finished shortly after the film came out. And I was really excited because I thought I was actually going to be doing like research and stuff, but that part didn't really play out. I was an actress also. And it turns out that was more what ended up being needed. Just a lot of me really being scared. But yeah, I actually was a history student.
But really, like they told me that we're really not, they wanted people who did have like some kind of like potential acting, you know, background, but I was told we were hiring you guys to be real people. And
I just thought I had done a ton of research. I got all these books like before like so much internet. It's like, and I did all this research, the murders. I didn't really get to use. I had a lot of knowledge going into that.
I did too.
Well, I got an email one day from someone. I don't even know, whatever production company we were dealing with, and wanted to know what did I know about plantations and the Civil War and, you know, all this stuff. And so it was 99. It was like the spring or summer of 99. And I think I'd had a website for like 5 years or something. And so the only way I could figure that they found me is that at the time there were only like 10 ghost websites on the internet, you know? And so they found me, and I really I'd done like a couple of TV shows, but there weren't any at the time. So there was no ghost hunters or ghost adventures or any of that stuff. So this was such a cool idea of doing a documentary. I mean, I jumped at the chance because they swore to me this was going to be a real documentary. I mean, I was told that up until the time you guys went into the house. And then when they made me leave, I thought, okay, what the fuck here? You know, what's going on here? And so then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure about this one. But, you know, up until that time, they had sworn to me that that's what we were doing. And I mean, I knew, you know, after talking to you guys all week, I mean, I knew that you were actors and stuff, but I thought big deal, you know, so what, they're actors and they're brought into a haunted house. Yeah. You know, I mean, I knew that Lalaurie stuff wasn't real. I mean, I tried to tell, we kind of have to be careful with this because all of this stuff happened in New Orleans. None of it happened here, you know? And so they, you know, we're supposed to go along with it and it's whatever. I just kept going, well, you know, maybe, because I didn't want to stand there and lie because it's a real documentary, I kept being told. You know, I mean, I knew that, but the house was supposed to be haunted, and hell, every plantation house is probably haunted in the South. So I thought, hey, why not? You know? So yeah, I don't know how I don't even remember who contacted me originally. I know Paul did pretty quick. I don't think he was my initial contact, but it was pretty quick after that. So what's that? Oh, she was the one who came in later, right? Was she the producer who came in later? And there was yeah, I didn't want to say that because there was one producer that I liked and one that I really didn't like, and I didn't want to say the one that I really hated, but you already did. So what the hell? Sue me. But the first producer we had, I really liked, and it seemed like we were doing something completely different until things just sort of went off in a whole different way. I guess the best way to say it.
It's so
as a
crazy,
civilian, looking at it from the outside.
I mean, seriously, again, like up until 3 seconds ago, I thought that house was haunted.
Well, maybe it was, but it wasn't by Madame Lalaurie. So
well, I thought that too.
Again, there's
I've been walking around for the last 2.5 decades.
It really was haunted. Don't you remember, Paul? I mean, PJ. I mean, remember Ryan? You and I with that Ouija board. It was things were happening in that.
Yeah.
The movie took on a life of its own.
But I thought Madame Lalaurie was in that. I was terrified walking into that house. I was like,
that was
that's a job well done. Then I suppose.
I was very, actually, I'm sorry, PJ. Why don't you finish up?
I was just saying. I mean, we were all very aware that this is done by a production company, so we thought you were going to fuck with us for sure.
Yeah, we were worried about.
Looking around the house, I'm like, well, this is a real house. There's nothing here, and like that made it scary. You're like, oh shit, they didn't like you. We thought we would see if you had done stuff, and we couldn't find anything. So that made it really even scarier. Like, oh no, they really. I mean, don't you remember? You could hear us talking.
Yes, we talked about that.
Wait a minute. Yeah. This really is a haunted house, and we're really stuck in here. And they really did put us in here by ourselves. And then all these horrible things have happened to people in this. Was there not a cemetery at that house? Is that a lie?
No, that was a different location.
That was in town. Yeah.
We went to the cemetery, but it wasn't at the house.
Yeah.
But we weren't supposed to really talk with each other before we went in the house. But Madison and I were sharing a room. So we were like, are they going to do stuff to it? Are they going to make stuff up? Like the two of us talked about it before going in. But then the rest of us weren't really supposed to have those conversations, although I think we did a little bit. But so we did actually have those conversations we had them on camera because
I cannot tell you how many people I have told wrong information.
Now you can come clean.
I've been to New Orleans like 1,000 times since then. I'm like, yeah, I know she was in this house, but she moved up to St. Francisville. I went to that house. It's pretty scary.
Well, one of the great stories, and I tell this story. I've been telling this story for years, and it's too bad because it's not in the film. When we were driving up, the drive up to the house was in the film, obviously, right? But as you guys remember, and this was my biggest disappointment in the movie, is that we shot it once, as you'll recall, which was great, but then they decided that they didn't like the shot, so they made us do it two more times. And that by the time, so what was happening, and was it you, Ryan? Somebody was having a panic. I think it was you,
Ryan.
Oh, I'm sure it was me.
Yeah, it was Ryan.
Yeah, you had a panic attack, and there was nobody in the vehicle filming in the vehicle.
Oh, yes.
And you started having a panic attack, and I actually got really wigged out by that because I felt I'm like a totally empath, right? So like you were completely flipping out, and I was like, this is like, part of me was like, this is the greatest thing ever, and part of me was like, I'm such a horrible human being. It was like the most conflicting moment of my life, but. It was palpable, like because we did a really smart. We did a good job of, sort of suggesting, convincing you guys that this was a real haunted house, right?
Yeah.
And you guys really bought it hook, line, and sinker. I guess that's.
I still do. I
still do too. I do believe it's haunted.
I believe it. I felt like I felt it. I saw it. I felt like I heard things. I mean, that doesn't usually happen to me. I mean,
no, me too.
Yeah. But that place was scary as fuck. I mean, am I allowed to swear?
So
Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah. Yeah, say what you want.
That place was scary as fuck. That attic was like, oh my God, that place was fucking scary. I did not want to go in there. So it was like, but we had kept you guys sort of in that bubble, before you went in the house and really had ramped it up. And then with Ryan having that like sort of panic attack, it was like, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, this is gonna be fantastic.
I remember telling you guys very specifically, because I was like, they're going to fuck with us, but okay, that'll be fine. But I also remember thinking, I'm not going to fuck around with anything that might be real. And I remember specifically telling, it wasn't you, it was one of the producers, do not send in a Ouija board in that house. I will not use it. I don't want to be around it. And then you guys gave us a box with like our snacks and stuff and like notes in it of what we're supposed to There's a Ouija board in there. I'm like, no.
I had never used a Ouija board in my life.
I'm terrified to use that thing.
It was absolutely.
I never have since either.
It was spinning. It was spinning. But, you know, you have like this thing that you move around, but the board itself was turning in a clockwise position.
For me, that was the craziest part of the entire night.
That was really upsetting.
Wow.
That was.
Look, the whole thing is like, you know, as coming clean as because, you know, whatever. I mean, here's the thing that they had set up certain things to ghost the evening if it was necessary, right? But it wasn't supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be, those were supposed to be there just in case we needed to, you know, make it a little, you know, more interesting. But I think what happened was because they wound up filming that entrance a couple more times, it gave you guys time to sort of come down a little bit. Because if they had put you in when we got out of that car with Brian completely flipping out, it would have been, I think the movie would have been completely different. Because I think by the time you got in there, you were a lot more relaxed.
I think you're right, actually, about that part. Yeah. Like, we were more calm. I mean, we were still scared of going in, but...
Yeah. But what's that?
Once those lights went off, though, like when the power started going off, it was like, we're dead. We're going to die.
Yeah. But the thing that was interesting to me was there was no... It was not meant to be, let's just fuck with them. Like, because the whole idea of the experiment was if we put people into a place where they really felt was haunted, what would, you know, how would they react? How would you guys work together or work against each other? And how many would, like, you know, would it be a point where you guys would want to get out? Because we told you you're going to be locked in for the evening and you have to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the whole idea was just to see how... You know,
but it was more than that. If we just had to stay, it would have been one thing. We could have sat in one room next to each other, but we had to do all these different things. So we had to take the temperature in every room. And so
I know I wrote those.
Yeah.
That was more.
Don't show up in the movie at all. So, you know.
And that weird guy.
I still have those. I still have all, like, I have my notebook from the movie, and I still have all those original things that you guys had, all the tasks you needed to do. I mean, should I go run and grab that, and then we can reminisce through that?
Before you do that, Paul, I have a surprise. I still have the shirt.
Oh my God!
Oh, there it is. There it is.
That's so funny.
Well, wait, do you guys want to see my? Do you guys want to see my St. Francisville action figure that I made of myself?
Oh my God!
Dude, that is so cool.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
It's actually
Awesome.
It's actually a Seth Green action figure from Austin Powers. I made my own to go with my other ones.
I need one of those. That's awesome.
But I mean, like, I still have, like, great pictures of all of us, and I mean, look, it was a fun. I mean, like, you know, there was some frustrations clearly, but I really bonded with you guys. I mean, I hope that's the case. I hope you weren't acting that.
No, I don't. Paul, you have to understand. We weren't acting a damn thing. Honestly, while we were there, we were legit confused.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yes.
But in a good way. I mean, we were having fun. It was fun. Like, we always know where the exit is. We really
need to, like, look,
we could have run out the front door if it was going to be awful. And we almost did a couple times, but we didn't. I don't think we ever opened it because you told us not to. But I do remember when the sun came up and we all went back to our cabins or whatever. And like Tim and I were sharing one. I was so afraid. I went to sleep and I was having nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I kept falling asleep and then being like thinking of the night and my dreams and like that chair falling or flying through the room and all that stuff. And I was so like freaked out. Then I was afraid, like, what if the ghosts follow us back to LA? These are legit thoughts I was having. Like, we were not acting. That was not acting.
You were like, you didn't want to go and see Charles. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Charles.
Remember Charles? And you're like, I'm not going up there.
Yeah.
Well, here's one of the funny, like, behind the scenes stuff. I mean, I don't know if we've even talked about these.
No, nobody's told us anything. So tell us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so, you know, we were in a truck, like we were in a truck outside, and there were cameras set up around the house so we could, you know, film you guys. And I just remember, like, pleading with them. Like, they got so fed up with me. I'll just be honest. I mean, like, the producers are getting so pissed off with me because I love horror so much. And I was trying to explain to them that it's like horror is not reactive. You know what I mean? It's like the idea being that if you want to scare somebody, like if you guys were in a room, don't flick the lights on in that room. Flick the lights on and off in that room. Flick them on and off at a room down the hall that you now need to go and investigate. That's tension. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's more horror. But they were so reactive with it. Same thing with that chair, which I'm sorry, it wasn't Charles. It was a pull cord with that chair up in the.
But we did not know that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, but the thing I told them is like, don't, because I think what happens is one of you guys touches it and then it flies, right? Like across the room or something.
No, I think they just walked into the room. I think
pretty far away.
Yeah.
Somebody mentions it. They're like, yeah, that something's going to happen in this. Like, watch that chair fly across the room, and then it literally does happen.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Later.
Yeah, that was the thing. So I was trying to tell them, I was like, don't, do it when they're not expecting it. That's the thing. It's like if you do it, these things can't be obvious. You know what I mean? I thought if we did too many of them, they would be obvious.
When that chair flew, it was so unexpected, and it was such a violent move.
Yeah,
like the way it moved, and it felt like it can't be you guys because that's dangerous. You wouldn't put us in danger.
Of course,
no, you did say that. Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, and also we're on the third floor of this crazy house with this crazy staircase that feels like it's gonna fall. Yeah. And you remember, I'm sure it's in the film. I'm like yelling at all of us as we go down the stairs, hug the wall, don't touch the banister.
Yeah.
I don't want us to fall 4 stories down. And I also know there's an ambulance outside, which we saw that on the way in, like, oh shit, we're expecting us to die here tonight. There's an ambulance.
Well, I knew the chair made an impression on you, PJ, because the next day I kept trying to pump you guys to tell me anything that happened. And you're not supposed to talk to me, for whatever reason. No one was supposed to tell me anything. And so I kept pumping PJ for, come on, tell me something. He goes, okay, so there was this chair. I swear to God, flew all the way across the room. And I'm like, huh. And then I thought, oh, that's why they wouldn't let me back there by that trailer. So, whatever. But I knew it made an impression.
I have some questions, though, Paul.
Okay.
Because there's a few things, if maybe you can clarify, because I don't know if these things really happened or if you guys did them.
Okay.
Are you going to come clean now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things happened is after that chair flew and we all went back downstairs, we went back to the living room area and we huddled. We stayed there for a minute, like we were not going anywhere. We're trying to figure out, like, do we leave the house? What do we do? And while we were down there, we could hear things moving upstairs. And it was driving me insane. I was like, shit, that furniture is still moving in the attic. Like,
that's funny.
Was that you guys making it
happen? Yeah. So, okay, here's the interesting thing. They sent somebody in there, and I was like, don't send that, oh my God, because the whole thing was going to be ruined if you guys saw somebody in the house, and someone snuck in the house, one of the PAs or something like that.
Sneak in? I don't even know how they got.
It was through the back, because remember, you guys were all on monitors, so we knew where you were.
Oh, right.
So there was some guy who went in there, and one of you guys almost saw them. We actually were pretty convinced that you did see them. You know what I mean? Like one of you guys, we were convinced that one of you guys saw it, but yeah, some guy went in there to move set something up or to move some stuff around. And it was like, no, don't. And it's like the whole thing would have been ruined if you saw it. You know what I mean?
We were like, what was that? What was that?
So yeah, they did send someone in. Because actually, I've always been curious if you guys actually saw that person or not. Because
we could hear them, and we just thought that was like the Madam whatever face upstairs.
I wouldn't disrespect her. I wouldn't disrespect her. I mean, she throws chairs around. Didn't you know that, DJ?
That was actually the scariest moments to me, was that we were downstairs and we could hear stuff happening upstairs, and we thought nobody was there. That was the scariest part.
That was super terrifying.
See, that's real horror in real dread. Like I said, you flick the lights on in the room down the hall, not in the room you're in.
But Paul, I have a question off of PJ's. There was this moment where I walked into another room and a cabinet door flew open.
Yeah.
Because I remember telling everybody about it. Was that you?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't me. I mean, it was rigged.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they rigged all the stuff in the house.
Because
all the stuff in the house.
it was just me going in there. So I imagine that you would do like something bigger than that. It was very subtle.
No, because that was the whole idea. Is that what's that, right?
And you had said that door was closed. I know that door was closed.
Yeah. But that was the whole point was that it's the more subtlety you did, the scarier it was. Because that's the thing. It's like, yeah, because that's the thing.
See, we've never had a debrief, and we have never had this.
This is it. This is our debrief.
This is our 20 years. Well, they were getting fed up. The producers were getting so fed up with me. I was a little bit more green back then, anyways. But I was so like, I was actually very protective of you guys, by the way. I want you guys to know that. But it was like, I was such a fan of horror that it's like, no, do this. And they were kind of looking for the easy reactions sometimes. And it's like, no, you want to sustain this. You know what I mean? It's like, I was so even afraid that the chair thing was going to blow it. I'm not saying that I was right, 100% right by any stretch of the imagination, but it was just like, from what I know about horror and being a big fan, it's like, it's the more subtle the stuff was, the more, because as soon as you guys figured out if this stuff wasn't, was being faked, then we were done for. And then we had one chance.
Never it is.
Yeah. So, that was the thing. And that, so the more subtle it was, like the thing with the door. So there was a lot of things that were set up that were just, very, very minor,
Yeah.
Because that's the scariness.
You guys didn't have, go ahead, Madison.
No, I was just going to say, Paul, you just said how protective you were, or how protective you felt about us, except when you were scaring us to death. But anyway, I felt like, I can't speak for everybody, but I felt like you were like part of our group. I remember we went off and we did things with you, and you were like one of us.
Yeah, no, I was. And that's the thing, is you have to understand this. I was. I had no control over the set. They literally wanted to throw me off the set. They got so annoyed with me. Troy, I think I confided with you on some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, you sure did.
I was, because I was very protective of you guys. I really legitimately loved all you guys, and I didn't want, and I had sort of done my part. I was there, but I was basically told to keep my mouth shut and just let them take it from there. All right.
Right.
But it was frustrating because remember, this is like my first big big thing happening. I was a makeup effects artist for how many years, 13 years before and this was going to be my first film that I was getting sort of a writer's credit on. And so, I wanted this thing to go well. But I also liked you guys, and being an empath, it's like I was feeling really bad. Ryan, I swear to God, I still talk about that panic attack to this day because I was so worried for you. It made me feel so bad, but also elated at the same time. Like, this is working.
And I hope the audience, whoever's listening, you need to understand that house was so legit scary. The property, the driveway up there, and we've never seen it when we drove in that car, and we're looking through the windshield going, oh, we are in deep. Like, this is no wonder. I remember you having that panic attack, and I did not blame you. I was like, yeah, I don't know how we're going to do this, because you guys have gotten into our heads so heavily with all of the torture that happened in the house. And I'm like, I don't want to be in a room that this happened in. And now I'm learning 20 years later, none of it happened. I'm like, the house was a daycare center. It was just
I had read it all in detail too, because I was a history major and I did my research. Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
Legit scary.
Yeah, well, that's what we had to do. Troy was told too. It's like we had to just the whole idea, because it was a psychological experiment. So the idea was just to feed you enough information. Feed you enough information to get you to think this place was haunted, and see how you would react. That's why it's called the St. Francisville Experiment. Just to see, because and that was the whole idea of it. So we had to play our part.
We never saw the house during the light.
Yeah, well, that was purpose. That was sole purpose.
For sure.
Yeah, because that place is legit fucking scary. It is. That attic is so freaking
I wonder what it is now. Does anyone know? I mean,
I just tried to look it up. I can't find it, but it was almost abandoned when we were in there, right? Like there was
No, someone owned that. Someone owned the place.
No, but they didn't live in most of the house. They like lived only in a few rooms. You could tell when you were in there. Like the house was like
seem that way.
Well, I think they set dressed it. I mean, like
oh, I don't know.
It was really old furniture and stuff.
And I had that
it was a movie, you know.
I wish.
I think they moved out a lot of the stuff. No, I think they set dressed it to make it look like it was a band.
But
There was someone who lived there.
Oh, the psychological thing worked because we're still like, no, it was haunted. I don't know. Like,
No, a whole family lived there.
It's still fucking with us.
Funny.
I wish we had an address to look it up on Google Earth, you know.
Yeah, but I remember that girl who took us on that tour of the she was the one who she was like the Lalaurie, like
yes.
she was really interesting. Yeah, the cemetery. Yeah. She was legit. She actually gave tours of the of that mansion and stuff like that. I mean, not the mansion, sorry, of the actual place where Madame Lalaurie actually.
Yeah. So I guess
you guys were in her summer house.
I guess poor Tim is still stuck in the house where we left him.
He did not come out alive.
You know what's funny though? Tim didn't make his flight. We were all supposed to fly together. Remember?
We'll film part 2 tonight. We'll get the Ouija board out and we'll try to contact Tim.
So like, when we flew out there from LA, Tim was supposed to be on the flight and he didn't join us. And he was late. He missed his flight or something. And so it was Madison, Ryan, and I. And I remember the three of us going, "Oh, is this guy Tim in on it?" Remember that? Like we were not sure about Tim.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. He wasn't
okay, he was in on it. No, I'm just kidding.
That first night we had like crab. There was like a crab dinner.
By the way, I was just eating crab for dinner tonight as a tribute to you guys.
Yeah, the best part about
the crab, and we were like, we all had microphones, and we were like, terrible sound. It's like the whole time.
And the best part about it is that they didn't even serve crab. Because they don't even have crab there in St. Francisville. It's too landlocked. So we had to fly it in from New Orleans. Because they didn't even serve crab. And they were telling me that. And I'm like, and we're supposed to be doing what? We're supposed to be cracking this stuff to make it sound awful with the microphones. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, we had to have this stuff flown in. We don't have crab here. And it's like, oh man.
Seriously?
Yeah. Dr. Troy's 100% right.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. You're
yeah.
Right.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Oh my god!
All smoke and mirrors.
I just remember I
wrote that crab dinner into the script because I wanted to eat crab. That's so funny. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, they did. They had a specialty order that. No wonder they hated me.
So you guys didn't have like a legit script to go by while you were inside the house. So were you guys ever afraid of messing anything up or going places you weren't supposed to?
There was only one place they told us not to go to, and that was the kitchen, and the door was shut. That's probably where the PA came through, I'm guessing.
I don't even remember them saying that.
Because we weren't allowed in there. And that was like, they said it was a private residence, don't go into their kitchen. The door was shut. It's just off the living room. And we
have a good memory, PJ. I don't even remember that, but there was like a mini kitchen type of, like an old yucky kitchen thing that we were in.
It was like just beyond that. They said stay out of that.
It must have been like a butler's pantry or something.
I'm thinking that's where the PAs could sneak into the house and we didn't know it.
Yeah, probably servant stairs going up the back.
Yeah, remember that was where that door was, the white door, and we were like, it's open a little bit.
Oh yeah.
How was the I'm kind of curious, how was the house selected? Like, was there like kind of like you just kind of look at like several of them or locations and stuff?
Well, didn't they try to get the Myrtles first? And then they would do it? Yes. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's why we ended up with the Madame Lalaurie thing. Because originally they'd come to me about the Myrtles, and that's what we talked about, because that's the really famous haunted house in St. Francisville. And then the Myrtles wouldn't do it because they're too busy with their regular business. And that's how we ended up then coming up with an alternate villain.
Oh my god, it would have been a whole nother movie.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Myrtles is such a nice place, and this house you guys found was not particularly nice. I mean, remember there's stains on the walls. Like that's not the art department. That's like that house. It smelled really old. It was funky.
Yeah.
Even if you guys moved out the furniture.
I remember when they took me to the location the first time. Were you with me, Troy, when we went there that first time?
Yeah. When we went over, yeah.
And it was like, really, it was like, holy crap. I was just scared to be in there.
Yeah.
I'm a wimp
It
anyways.
was definitely
like,
creepy. So, yeah, we walked through the whole place with that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I think it's so funny, like, because, you know, like I said, I'm a big horror guy, but I like, don't take me to even like haunted house attractions. I mean, like, I am so, and I was wigged out by that place. Especially
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm the same way. I'd spend the night in a haunted house, but I won't go to an attraction. They scare the crap out of me. So, yeah, I won't do that. So,
I'm shocked, Troy, because the stuff you write about on Facebook, I'm like shaking.
I know, it's like creepy stuff. Yeah.
I like that moment in the movie with Troy. I mean, like that legit, like you explaining how to use all the devices.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. Those were the early days of that stuff too, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it really.
Well, I remember when that MTV show started, like that would have that Ghost Hunters. Fear was that the first one?
It was Fear on MTV. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a couple of years. That was like a year after St. Francis.
Yeah, and they completely ripped off your idea with the tasks that everybody had to do. I mean, it was. I know. Well, okay, we won't say ripped off. We will say inspired by all your stuff. But it was exactly what you dreamed up for these guys to be doing that didn't make it into the movie. So I remember when that started because I was peripherally involved in that for the first like 5 episodes too, doing the same thing, and they had my books and stuff on there, and but I kept thinking, but this really sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw that show, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like St. Francisville.
Yeah,
the show, the series.
Yeah.
So how long did this take for you to kind of get an idea and bring it to life, and to where you made the movie? What was the time frame on making this?
Well, let's see, because I pitched it when we were filming The Dead Hate the Living. So The Dead Hate the Living was I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to check. This what happens when you've been in the industry so long. I'm gonna see when we did Dead Hate the Living. Hold a second. Because it was pretty quick. Let's see, The Dead Hate the Living was 2000. All right. So it was when I was on set for The Dead Hate the Living that, I found out about pitching this. So that happened pretty darn quickly. That happened pretty darn quickly.
I think the first email I had from you was in June of 99. So it would have only been a few months before.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick, came together pretty quick, at least on my end. So.
Yeah, here's the great thing. It's like I'm so fucking anal retentive that I probably have a whole folder for it here. Let's see.
Probably.
Yeah. And so like, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I swear to God, I still have like all the pictures in a nice folder, and I have like a notebook with all the stuff in it and everything I did. Which I really want to go run and grab because I think it'd be hilarious. All right, here's my St. Francisville folder right here. Yeah. Okay. So, oh God, here we go. Here's like the rules, the questions, the notes. Oh, this probably the introduction that I the 24-hour outline. Yeah, the outline for the wow. Yeah, and this is so. Let's see. The earliest stuff here is from August 13th, 1999.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah, I've got like all these. Will these even open up? Let's see. Oh, this is so funny. I'm just sorry. I mean, this is just so funny to see. Oh, okay. Can I share my screen or something? I'll just read some of these things. I have this thing here. Wow. I like wrote the rules. Okay. And there's literally like 15 of them. Okay. Let's see what some of these are. You cannot leave the house until 6 a.m. September 18th, 1999, unless otherwise instructed by Troy Taylor or a young filmmaker.
young filmmaker, which would be Paul.
That rule held.
I'm no longer a young filmmaker, but I was a young filmmaker at the time.
Wanted to leave before that. That's true.
Yeah, if you leave the premises before 6 a.m., you will be 100% forfeit any rights to the completion bonus. Did you guys get a completion bonus?
Oh yeah, it was like $100.
$100.
My completion bonus.
Some of these are great. Okay.
On it. Remember, the pay was whatever it was, and half of it was held for completion.
Oh, wow. Okay. Only extreme medical emergencies warrant the desertion of the premises. A medical team is standing by and will handle and evaluate the situation.
No wonder they were scared. Jesus.
Yeah. No cellular phones, walkie-talkies, pagers. Oh, yeah, pagers. Any other communication device are permitted in or around the plantation. So these are great. Okay, let's see. Contact with outside the plantation grounds is strictly prohibited and grounds for 100% forfeiture of any rights to completion bonus. No weapons of any kind are permitted. No use of drugs or narcotics is strictly prohibited. No smoking. That was because obviously they didn't want any smoking there. Oh, look at this one. 2 cameras must be active at all times.
Yeah.
This list of rules was given to us when we got in there. It was in that. Yeah. It was the first thing we read.
Oh, this was in the. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was in the packet. So the video footage, photographs, recorded audio, and any other collected information or data are the sole property of Full Moon Entertainment. See, and Kushner Lock, because it was the Kushner Lock who made it.
Right.
But it originated as a Full Moon. But Full Moon, they didn't want Full Moon's involvement at all. Like you can't even on any of the packaging and stuff like that. It never says Full Moon anywhere. Because Full Moon was obviously known for, doing these, low budget horror stuff, and they didn't want it. It was called the Ellerslie Plantation.
Yeah.
Ellerslie. Ellersie. Anybody want to look that up? Ellersie. So it says the Ellerslie Plantation is a private residence and must be treated with the respect of someone's home. Wow. Vandalism or malicious destruction is illegal and will be handled as such by the local law enforcement.
Wow.
Oh, there's that fucking house. Found it.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, you found it?
Oh, yeah.
These old photos are even creepier than the ones.
There's pictures of the inside. There's a staircase. Ah, the staircase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's it. There it is.
Oh, there's 3 more here. We had all reasonable instructions received by the group must be followed to the letter. The instructions will be designed by Troy Taylor and the young filmmaker. this guy. That's this action figure. You can buy this action figure as young filmmaker. Unreasonable deviation of the instructions may result in forfeiture of any rights to the completion. Wow. Okay, and then 2 more. You are on camera, act accordingly. The production maintains the right to use any and all footage in the final edit of the motion picture entitled The St. Francisville Experiment. And then payment of the bonus will be made in full following the completion of the mission.
There it is. I just put links. I'm putting links in the chat for you guys of that. You'll see pictures of the staircase.
The mission was scare Ryan as much as humanly possible.
I'm going to see what some of these things.
At any point, did anybody think I'm going to back out? I'm going to quit. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not going in.
Like it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
About it a lot.
I think PJ kept us together.
We talked about it a lot, though.
We did talk about it.
And then, but also,
PJ,
I thought we could make it through the night. I felt like I was nervous after the chair went crazy. I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe we're all going to die here tonight.
Wow. Yeah, I've got the outline for the outline I wrote for the wow. I want to share this with you guys. This is like pretty crazy. No, I mean, like it's literally laid out like the legend part. So this is really interesting. Okay, so we have an introduction. Why the St. Francisville Experiment, right? So that was like sort of like my little intro that it's still like in the movie, I guess. And where I set up the premise. And then there's the legend part 1, which we were supposed to interview a lot of people for this. Like there was really legit, there was supposed to be a real documentary at the beginning of it. Like, you know, much longer than it was, right? So we were going to interview this old Black woman about haunted plantations, a local about local ghost stories, a voodoo priestess, another local, children.
She did come. She was.
I remember.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got pictures with her with their snake and Ryan and Madison with the snake. So
yeah.
And then we have the historian, which we had. That was the girl who did it in the, you know, who talked about it. And then an introduction of the Ellerslie Plantation, which was done by the historian. Then and then similarities between like the plantation and the Lalaurie to sort of, you know, mesh them together. And then a whole history of the Lalaurie murders. And we're going to interview policemen, townspeople, a priest, forensic pathologist. this didn't ever got that. And then The Experiment, Troy Taylor. So here we go. This is the Troy Taylor. Troy Taylor, professional ghost hunter and founder of the American Ghost Society. So he'd have a personal introduction to you and your background. You set up the mission and introduce. So you guys were this. So the four of you guys was the ghost hunter, which was Tim, right? Was Tim the ghost hunter?
Filmmaker.
Cinematographer. So who was the Paul? Were you the filmmaker?
Yeah.
No. No, I think
Paul
PJ was
was
the ghost hunter, weren't you?
You were the group leader, Paul. PJ.
Ghost hunter.
Well, I took that on for sure, but yes.
Well, these were the four roles. These were the four types that I had written in. Ghost hunter. Yeah, ghost hunter, cinematographer, psychic medium, that's you, Madison, and then criminal psychologist, forensic pathologist. Was that you, Ryan?
Who became his story.
Yes, that's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
No, I'm historian.
And then I had like introductions to all of you guys. This is great. And then, oh wow, this is look at this. Even as end of Act 1. I told you I wrote this fucking thing. And then Act 2, the empirical investigation. I mean, this is
what about Paul? What about the stuff that was filmed later?
Well, I wasn't involved with that. They hated me by then.
You were?
I was persona non grata at that point because I was.
I seriously did not even know that.
I did not know that.
I had nothing to do. I had nothing that broke my spirit when they did that.
Yeah,
like,
it broke ours
seriously. Yeah, I was so off the project at that point.
Wow. The thing is, the movie started with such purity. I had no, and it was so weird, and it took such a weird. I had no idea you weren't there, but that kind of makes sense because all the purity.
That was Lionsgate at that point. That was all Lionsgate.
It started taking a turn about halfway through the week, though, when we got personnel started changing with the production company and stuff, and new people were coming in, and they were not friendly to what we'd been doing. At least Paul and I, for sure. I mean, Paul was really got ragged on. I just got blown off and get lost kind of thing. When's your plane leave kind of thing. That's, so that I became persona non grata on the set even. Everything changed. And then afterward, it was, I didn't know anything that was going on. I'd ask Paul, what do you know? And he didn't know anything because he was off.
It became very piecemeal. And we were just given like all these, you need to do this. And now we're going to do this. And then I think what happened is and I mean, I'm learning so much today. Maybe this is wrong, but they sold it to Lionsgate.
No, right? Trimark. So here's the thing.
Trimark, Lionsgate. Trimark, Lionsgate.
Oh,
and then
no, it was Trimark, and then Lionsgate bought Trimark.
Okay,
Trimark.
Got it. So it was Trimark first, and then I think they did this screening in New York, and at the screening, the demographic that liked it still always was the demographic that liked it, which was, I think, 12 to 15-year-olds, right? So it was a small demographic. They hoped for a bigger one, but they also had this feedback, I think, from the New York screening, which was, what happened to certain characters and, what happened at the end of this part and this part. And so they decided they needed to go and not reshoot, but add scenes. Mm-hmm. And so that's when it started to get piecemeal, because then it was like, okay, we're shooting on this sound stage. Okay, we're shooting at this house in Los Feliz, in California. And so then those things were, in fact, more scripted. And those things were
very Scooby-Doo.
Feel right. Yes.
Falling chandelier and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then so when they put those things together, I think they hoped it meshed more than it did. But again, that 12 to 15-year-old age group still really, really loved the movie. They just needed, they wanted a bigger demographic, right? I mean, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Was the demographic side.
It had nothing to do with that stuff. Like, it really broke my heart when they did that.
Well, if it helps you, if it makes you feel any better, Tim and I were on your side. Yeah. We threw a fit. We would have been persons non grata, except that we were in the movie. Yeah. And they couldn't get rid of us. And if you'll notice, my last name is Palmer. It is not on the film. It's not on the poster. It's nowhere. That was part of my contract. I was like, I will shoot these things. You're going to change my name. And they'd already put up billboards, and they were pissed. They were pissed. There was a billboard that was over off Bundy, for this movie, and our real names were on it. And Tim and I both. Tim, I don't think Baldini's in there. His last name what's his last name on the film?
Something else, yeah.
It's I got the poster. You know, it's really
I know, on the posters that were in the movie theaters, did those have? I have one of those posters.
There were two different posters.
Yeah.
There was a blue poster right later, but originally it was red.
Yeah, you want to see the red
Really
poster? Oh, yeah,
cool.
you've got the red poster.
Yeah, the one that PJ's got right there.
Oh, I have
I got the
blue one.
Yeah.
And here's what's crazy about that poster. You know, here's something really funny about that
Yeah.
poster. Do you guys
Tim
know who
Thompson.
Robert? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tim Thompson and Paul Carson. We changed our last names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't do it. We said no, and we were in their
Wow.
Commissioner Lock offices up on Wilshire.
I remember that. PJ. I remember.
Forgetting all these things.
Now that poster. Here's a little bit of trivia for you guys. Do you guys know who Robert Burnett is? Do you guys know the Burnett, network on? It's a big YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rob's wife at the time was working for Lionsgate, and she designed that poster. Isn't that funny?
Beautiful.
Just completely that red poster, which I love.
You know that we did a whole photo shoot. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And we did it on Abercrombie in Venice with the guy who does. He was the art director for Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, we did like a scary photo shoot.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting cast into a Marilyn Manson music video. From that same, that guy, that art director dude brought me on to that. It was crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
That was fun.
I don't know if I should tell you guys this or not, and if it's someone
You're
here
telling
that-
it. What,
I know,
wait,
but
take
if
it to your grave?
wait. This is for Chris and these guys. If there's someone here who's the one who sent this stuff to me, and you're going to get in trouble for it in some way, you may not have to edit this out. But someone who got fired from the production company sent me a huge box of T-shirts, posters, all kinds of stuff and sent me 3 different versions of the movie on videotape.
What?
None of which were the final cut.
What?
One of them was before the reshoots even. Now my son has them somewhere. I'd forgotten all about it, but I think he's got them somewhere. So if I can get them from him, I'll see if I can make copies. And but my son should still have them, as far as I know.
Please.
So, but I haven't talked to him today, and I meant to I'd forgotten all about it. I remembered the shirts and the posters and stuff, but I'd forgotten.
Oh, man.
I had 3 different videotapes that had different versions of the movie on it. So
was that? So I could probably guess who sent it to you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, I can't remember who it was. All I had written down was a disgruntled former employee. That's all.
It had to be Damon.
And I was making sure it wasn't Paul or anything.
No.
But I don't know who it
Love
was.
to see this.
I don't remember who it
Did you?
was.
I know you may not have, since at the end you weren't part of the production team at the end, but did you go to see it when it was in the movie theaters?
No, it came out in the only theater I think it was in like Phoenix or somewhere.
No, it was Fresno. It played in 2 theaters. It played in Fresno and San Jose. Fresno and San Jose.
And when it was in Fresno, we were told we were not supposed to go because they wanted people to think, were we alive or were we dead or whatever. But I went and I had like a baseball cap and I had braids. And I went with like my sisters and everything, and we were like just walking in and like trying to hide, and there was all the producers were standing there as people walked in, and like all the people at the theater were wearing like St. Francisville shirts, and there was like the movie posters and everything, and I just walked in with my baseball cap, and I told my sisters I don't want to be seen, so walk all the way up to the back row, and it was like one of those. So we sat in the back row, and I'm sitting there, and my sisters are sitting. This is really bad. This guy in front of me, there's that scene where I come on and they literally shot the scene, like cameras, like it was literally just my breath, basically. And so whoever decided the, camera position that day. And so I'm sitting there with my sisters and this guy in front of me yells, "Nice hit!" And I was sitting right behind him.
No thanks.
So funny. You couldn't make it up. Yeah, that was really neat to actually go see it in the theater. That was
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you guys a funny. Oh, Madison, did you want to say something? Or?
No, I was just going to say, I thought that movie was supposed to come out, and then Blair Witch 2 came out and did really. It supposed to have a wide release. But
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is what I was told. Okay. Well, this way I sort of like found out, right? So when it's sold to Trimark, for $3 million. Okay, like because I still have the Hollywood Reporter. It was front page of the Hollywood Reporter. And here's the funny thing: like I was so despondent about it. I was like, all right, here's the deal, Salamoff. The movie was supposed to come out like in 6 months, right? It was going to get a theatrical release, and I was like, all right, I know I'm not happy with how the movie came out, but nobody's seen it, so I have this window to get either a manager or an agent.
Right.
So I sent out queries to all these managers and agents with the front page of the Hollywood Reporter, saying that it's sold for like $3 million. And needless to say, I got my manager out of it.
Nice.
Right. So I'm like thinking like, all right, well, so I do owe St. Francisville a lot because it did really start my, professional writing career. But so that was Trimark, right? And then I heard that Lionsgate bought Trimark. And I was like, yes! My first movie is going to be a Lionsgate movie. I was so excited. And then I hear that when Lionsgate took over, they swept a bunch of movies like just to direct to DVD. They released it in, San Jose and Fresno, I guess, for whatever, for a week or something, for Oscar consideration. I don't know. Right. And then swept the rest under the carpet, and St. Francisville was one of them. And I was like so bummed. I was like, because at least it was going to get a theatrical release. So
but that's also why they were sending us out to the photographer, art director for Marilyn Manson, and we're doing all this crazy stuff because they were making all this material because it was going to be released with Trimark, and they were talking wide release. It was so heady and strange.
They were.
The New York Times reviewed our movie.
I remember they were like, "Your life is going to change a lot after this."
Yeah, and then Lionsgate.
Mine did.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had like a big a big article in some magazine, like some sci-fi or horror magazine.
Me?
Yeah, you. It was like a whole feature about just you.
I know. I was interviewed in a few things.
Yeah. I still remember seeing that. And that was when we were all still thinking it was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it was officially the first Blair Witch ripoff.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it was. Right. It was, which was pretty much. What's funny is that. So do you guys remember the TV game show Beat the Geeks? You guys remember that? It was like, okay, so I was a contestant on Beat the Geeks, and I actually won. I beat the horror geek because I know horror, right? But when we were taping it, the PA came in to get me, and he said, "Were you in a movie called The St. Francisville Experiment?" I'm like, yeah, like you've seen it? He goes, "Oh, I love that movie," and I'm like, really? He was like a big fan of it, and he recognized me.
But it's the demographic. The demographic of that age, like you guys, I mean, what age were you when you saw it?
I was probably around 14, 15 years old.
Right?
Yeah.
That was, okay, so whenever I have met people who are like, I love that movie, they usually were between 12 and 15. And it's like an entry-level horror movie for that age group, I think.
But Ryan, didn't you tell me that your daughter just had like a sleepover and
my son, when he was 12, I was like, okay, you can watch this, St. Francisville or whatever. And he had all these friends over. And I remember I got so much street cred after that. Like the kids were leaving out.
It was because of that breast theme.
Couldn't believe it.
In like 2003, I spoke at a ghost conference in Kentucky at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, big famous haunted place. And so after the daytime events were over, before the nighttime events were over, they had a big barbecue. And so I was sitting, a plate full of food. I'm one of the speakers. I'm trying to eat because I got to do something a little bit later in the night. And this guy just keeps like staring at me, like just staring, like creepily staring. Right. So, and this went on for, God, like half an hour. And then I was talking to some people, and then the next thing you know, he's standing right behind me, right? So I turn around and I said, hey man, what's going on? Something I can help you with. And he goes, yeah, I just had to ask you a question. And I said, okay. And he said, is Madison okay? And he's got like tears in his eyes. I'm serious. He's got like tears in his eyes. He says, Madison okay? And I said, you mean Madison from St. Francisville Experiment? And he goes, yeah. I mean, I saw the end of the movie. They didn't show what happened to her. Just that she went to the hospital. Is she okay? And I went, dude, it's just a movie. She's fine. She's really fine. I go, oh, okay, well, I just wanted to check because that seemed really serious. And I'm like, man, it's just a movie. And he wouldn't believe me. He just would not believe me. So you have a fan somewhere who was really worried about your health, Madison. So yeah, I share Paul's.
There were some creepy ones, right, Madison? We both had some creepy ones.
I've had, being on Facebook is like a blessing and a curse, and I've had a few people reach out to me really worried.
I had these crazy guys contact me and want to do a reunion podcast. I don't know
what
to talk
right? I know.
But I also love how it's actually the first official debrief. That's
I know.
I was talking to Chris, I'm like, is this a joke? Stop breaking.
I got that email I got a message from Paul on Facebook, and he was telling me, and I'm like, why? And he goes, it'll be fun. I said, hey, I haven't seen everybody in ages, so sure, why not? So
I've come to know what your guys' favorite parts were. I mean, obviously, it made some sort of impression on you. You watched it at 14 and 15.
There's two moments for me in particular. One being the opening scene with you, Paul, where you're just telling that the story's real. That really kind of intrigued me. Like I as 14 years old, I really thought that everything that's happening was real. And then toward the end of the film, PJ, whenever you're refusing to go into the attic and you're terrified at how dark it is, and that really stuck with me as well. I would have been right there in the same place, just wanting to do the same thing you were doing.
And of course, now we know that was real. So
Chris, bro, that was so real. I was like, because we had to go in there, and I was just like, I can't do it. I can't. I was terrified to go in that attic. That was 100% real.
Those moments really stuck with me.
How about you?
I think
Tyler?
the big moments for myself.
Well, I mean, even the basement scenes were absolutely terrifying. Anything in the basement and the attic, the moment the camera first turns and you can see down the steps, it's just like, they probably shouldn't be going in there.
Wait a minute, isn't the basement the reshoots though?
Yeah, that's Los Feliz.
Yeah, there's no
basements in the house.
Basements in Louisiana. So
if you don't want to
brought that up on set, they're like, "Oh, nobody will know. Don't worry about it."
I won't feel insulted that your favorite part has nothing to do with it.
I was going to say, I think for me, it's just the when you got out of the van and the anticipation of just walking to the house, like as a viewer, that was scary for me. Just to see your all's reaction. And you're like, man, I can kind of feel that. I get that goosebump feel because for myself, if I walked up upon a house that looked like that, a mansion, I'm like, hell, I'm not going in. Why are these people going in? What's wrong here? Something bad's going to happen. And still talking about that and relating that to the movie, I can feel that. I can feel your all's like feelings and emotions. And, man, that's what really got me. It wasn't anything that really happened in the house, which was scary. It was that leading up to the house, which was very bothering. That was for myself.
It was real. It was real.
I've often thought I've played the scenario of if anybody comes back and says we want to reunite you guys and put you back in that house, I would categorically say no. I'm not going to that house.
No.
I'm not doing it.
I can see why. Man.
Funny because like a lot of the piece of the movie we shot in California and stuff, but that doesn't change the experience we had in that actual house, which was complete horror for us. Like in real life, we weren't in that house. We were not acting. If anything,
I hate horror houses or whatever you call it. I mean,
Haunted.
Haunted, yes, I hate those. Yeah.
There's horror houses.
You're insulting Troy's cottage industry.
Gotta stay away from them. Gotta stay away from them.
No, it's kind of funny that all of us were in this movie, and you cannot get me to watch anything scary on TV.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I could not believe that I got cast in this. I was like terrified. I mean, why me? And then why?
Yeah.
Can we get a 25-year reunion reshoot? Can we all go back? And do it again?
St. Francisville too.
Three of us trying to find Tim.
Yeah,
that's it.
There you go.
Hey, white light.
I'm on it right now.
I love it.
Paul will have it written within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, in a couple weeks. I'll have you in a couple of days.
Paul, by next Monday, we're looking for it.
Troy, I still have the books that you gave me.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, right on the shelf, like right over there. Which is really sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
Gave me a couple of your ghost hunting books.
Yeah.
I was excited to work with you.
It was fun, man. I had a great time.
It was fun to have you on set because I could confide in you.
Yeah. I did a like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. I tried to get I was trying to get you to figure out a way that we could get together on it. But I did one at a friend of mine owns a movie theater, and so we showed the movie. We had like 500 people there. And I sat up in the balcony and talked over the movie and just explained what was going on and what we were doing and what was where and what was in California and what was in Louisiana and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It really was. It was fun.
I get calls every once in a while for like film festivals or places that want to screen it, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know anything to do with this movie. I didn't make, and just so you guys know, that $3 million that it sold for at Primark, I didn't see a dime of that. So just so you guys know that.
Well, now that it's on Amazon Prime and it's on there like permanently, apparently, so now it's sort of come back. Well, thankfully, you guys look about the same. Thank God I don't. I don't. I'm glad. So I know, people will see my name or they'll hear my voice and they'll go, was that you? No, that's guy looks like me. So
I still have the shirt. So
yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah. Well, Troy, you're right. It'll always live on Prime because Amazon doesn't pay residuals because we weren't paid as actors.
Oh, right? Well, exactly.
So you guys are actors?
Yeah.
I was actually in the Screen Actors Guild and I lied and said I wasn't.
I was too.
Now they're going to come
out. You were too, that's right.
No way.
Yeah. Maybe you should delete that from this so they don't come out. I would feel horrible.
Well, Troy, you mentioned that you had received several different versions of the film from someone. So anybody could speak to this as well, but as you guys had talked before, the film itself is being kind of like a renaissance right now because it's on Tubi, it's on all kinds of different streaming platforms. So a lot of people are seeing it now, and it's being talked about even more.
We're sorry. I mean, used to have people come up to me, hey, I saw you in the St. Francisville Experiment, and I go, hey man, we don't give refunds. I'm sorry.
It's something I just remembered I had, and then I have. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to listen to this. I actually did an
commentary. It's on my DVD shelf next to the movie.
Yeah,
he did a commentary on a CD and gave it to me. And so you turn it on at the same time as the movie.
Yes.
He does the commentary over it. That's where I got the idea for that screening, was from your commentary. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, Tyler.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm going to disappear for a second here. Okay?
I do think it's neat though. Like because I have met so many people over the years and that are like, oh my gosh, that was my favorite movie. And I'm always like, really? But
really?
Every single time without fail that I say, how old were you? Always between ages of 12 and 15. And I actually think that's awesome. Like, it doesn't have to be this great, amazing film that stands up to all ages. I think it's kind of cool that it is this it's like fun horror movie for that age group. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
Have you
I love how organized I am. Sorry.
Madison, Ryan, when was the last time you saw the film? Because I haven't seen it since they screened it for us when we had that private screening. It's the only time.
No, I've seen it twice because my son, when he got into 6th grade, and then when my daughter she had a screening here, and yeah, that was like big time for me. Like,
yeah, I haven't seen it since the
friends are like, wow.
Yeah, the version.
We were supposed
the version that is. Sorry, go ahead, Madison.
We were just supposed to have a screening like right before the pandemic. Paul, we got to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
so the version
I watched it recently, which like maybe about a year ago or something. I was starting to come to terms with it because I've been such a hater against it for so long that I was like, okay, there's a certain quaintness to it that I think I can now like eat, so I don't go when people go as much as like when you go, oh, I love that movie. I'm like, really?
Yeah. So the version that's on streaming on Amazon Prime and on Tubi is a completely different version than what was originally released onto VHS and DVD.
Really? Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention to Troy. I was wondering if maybe that was.
Well, now I'm gonna have to watch it and see. Yeah, I didn't.
It's on Tubi. It's on Tubi right now. Completely different version.
Troy's like, maybe I should have watched it before I put it up on.
Oh yeah, right. I put the wrong one up. Damn it! No.
What would be the reason for them to spend money on?
Yeah, what's different? What's the main differences?
There's a lot, actually. There's a different intro. There's extended scenes. I think a lot of stuff that Paul was talking about, the extra added on sequences that was filmed later on, is not in this version. Like, you don't have the chandelier.
That I got because I had one that didn't have any of that stuff in it.
Jeez,
so now I'm gonna have to check it out. You see,
that's what I was thinking.
But is that the one that's on Amazon or not? No.
No, the one that's on. Is this version?
Is the DVD version? Yeah.
Okay, the one that's on Tubi is a different version. Then,
I gotta take a look.
So is it more like a documentary, like a true documentary then?
I watched the beginning.
Not really.
No, I wouldn't say that. There's just a lot of scene. I mean, it's just, to me, it's a completely different movie. Does
it have the part where Ryan almost eats the bug? Because if that's not in there, I don't want to watch it.
That was horrible.
That was the worst.
Was that real?
That was the
with
worst.
a real cockroach at first.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then they replaced it. That was bad.
So yeah, look at, I have 2 copies of my look, they're even, I got them wrapped in plastic.
Oh wow, wrapped in everything.
Audio commentary by Paul Salamoff. I think this was me working
I've got
out
one that looks like that. It's not wrapped, but it's the same one. Yeah.
This is a real collector's items, folks.
That is really cool.
This is probably me like spewing venom. This is like the real story. This is like the oral history, probably. This will be a companion piece. Maybe I should print a bunch of these out and you can sell them on your. And I can finally get my residuals for this.
There you go. Then you finally get your money. So
I think I'm gonna fucking listen to this. Like, this is like a time capsule.
I have listened to it several times.
So. You have?
I have. Well, when I show it to people, when I show them the movie. But so I started playing your commentary so that they can hear it, and I'm like, he tells the story better than I can. So,
you know, it'd be really interesting to really see, like what my memory now compared to, you know, when I recorded this. Yeah. This is great. Like, I really should. This is so funny. There's look at this. This is great. There's even instructions on the back. 1, insert DVD. 2, insert. 2, push play on CD. Wait for the what is it? Wait for what does this say? Wait for cue.
Yeah, because you go. Okay, turn it on now, like that. Yeah.
Look at this. I made these nice little CDs and everything. I made these.
Wow.
So Mike and Tyler, Mike and Tyler, you've seen both versions of this film that are running around out there now?
Yeah, we've seen.
So is there a version you think is better than the other?
You want to go back?
Hesitation.
No. I was gonna say, I think the
better
DVD
is such a relative.
version. The DVD version. I think we borrowed it from you, Lax, right? The one that you gave us to watch. So the DVD version, there's more that happens. The chandelier falling, like the more like kind of jumpier, scarier things that happen. The one on Tubi, it's not bad by all means. It's just, it's a little slower paced, I would say. I mean, what would you say about it, Tyler?
No, yeah, I think that the superior one definitely is the original DVD, and I think that was the one that was intended to be seen. So I don't know exactly who cut the other one or the version of it, but it definitely doesn't have the same kind of charm that the original cut does. So I do prefer the other one.
I wonder what the
there's a scene though.
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene that leads up that you're all like sitting around a fireplace or like you're out talking, or a fire pit. I'm sorry, a fire pit, and you're talking to this older gentleman, and it goes on for, I don't know, 10 minutes, and it's kind of like nonsense in a way. I wouldn't say, I mean, it's not a bad, but you're like, we really don't need this. And it was like 10 minutes of a movie that you're like, why is this in here? And compared to the DVD version, it's not even in there. It's not, very odd.
I don't remember even sitting at a fire.
Yeah, there was this older man, and he was trying to get this. They had given him a script to read that was like a horror, sort of like ghost stories, but he was struggling to put the story together for us. Do you remember that?
No.
No.
No recollection.
No recollection.
It's so funny because you remember things I don't remember.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know what's so funny? I'm looking at my sorry, I just started to flip through the script I wrote, and there literally is like peppermint smell. Like we had a thing with peppermint smell. A burst of cold air was like, I literally had Catherine put these things at this point.
But wait, did you guys do that?
Uranium powder?
Wait, Paul,
the Geiger counter?
Oh my God.
And you guys have cancer?
Just make things fun. So yeah.
What was that?
Did you guys really do that to us? Because we thought that was real.
I thought the cold air was real.
The cold air, you didn't do that, did you?
I gotta go.
Oh my God!
This is the time.
Oh my God!
How?
I want you guys to see. Can I share my screen for a second? Is that even possible?
Yeah, try. I think it should be unrestricted, so you can try.
Okay, hold on a second. No, give me the ability. You guys got to see this thing. I haven't seen this thing in years.
The cold spots were fake.
The cold I thought was real.
No, creaking noises, clock ringing. You're gonna love this.
Wait, hearing my name.
Yeah,
I remember somebody called my name.
This just took a nosedive, didn't it?
I remember that.
Can I share my screen now? Oh, here we go. Cool. All
right, got it?
So here we go.
All right. And so you made the Geiger counter go off?
Motion detectors.
Oh, this is.
You don't just give a Saturn award to anybody, you know.
Oh wow!
All right, let's look at this here. All right.
This is cool.
Yeah, wow, you guys have probably never seen this.
No, definitely not.
Look at this. Like, see, this is my outline for the movie.
We're trying to organize.
Prepare for bed. What is the prepare?
Yeah, as if we're gonna go to bed. That was never gonna happen.
All right, so listen. So this was the documentary part, right? So Act 1 was supposed to be the documentary, right? So this was like all of that, and then all right, the experiment, Troy Taylor, introduction. So yeah, this is our introduction on him. Oh, then we had the introductions on you guys. Remember we shot those things with you guys. And then so that was end of Act 1. Wednesday, September 15th. The quartet meet each other. Have dinner with Troy Taylor and young filmmaker. That's our have dinner. The briefing. Yeah, learn to use ghost hunting equipment.
We did that.
I wrote this fucking thing. Q&A with Troy Taylor and young filmmaker.
Final chance to win out.
Oh my God.
And then go to sleep. End of Act 1. Okay, moving on. The empirical investigation. All right, so preparation. Day one. Yeah, so I was a big fan of the Legend of Hell House. So I like the idea of like these, like Thursday, the quartet waking up, getting ready, approach the plantation, right? Okay, so we remember this, explain base camp, check equipment and gear. And then this was all the equipment that Troy and I went through. In the ambulance, make sure you guys saw the ambulance in case like one of you guys was going to die of fright.
Oh man.
Paul, that ambulance scared the fuck out of us. We're like, real. And we didn't know about it until we saw it. Nobody mentioned it. And we're like,
I told you, I'm no horror, folks.
We never
Don't
knew
just let
before.
anybody write these things. Well, this is funny. We had it in the afternoon. That was interesting. The experiment. Maybe I don't know horror too well. The experiment begins. Open instruction package. Remember, you guys had your instruction pack.
Yeah.
Designate the leader. Choose other positions. So, leader reads list to others. Locate and set up sleeping quarters. Get settled, eat lunch, and discuss mission. This is what I hoped you guys would do. Then here we go. Mission number 1: familiarize yourselves with the surroundings. Explore the first floor. Explore the second floor. Explore the attic. There's no basement, and then draw maps, right? Mission 2, search party 1, the kitchen, a peppermint. So anything in bold was us. Basically.
Oh man! Oh
my god, that's great.
So we had the peppermint smell. So search cupboards and cabinets. You would find nothing, obviously. And then, and take pictures. You were supposed to take pictures.
Oh, I mean, for 20 years, I believe this really happened.
I don't know what to do. Please don't hate me. I needed the money. I needed the money.
I feel like a total idiot.
So was I supposed to feel the neck hairs tingle? Was I supposed to say that under search?
I guess so. I hope you didn't feel the uranium powder, which probably
No kidding, right?
I don't think we did the uranium powder because maybe it was probably going to be, not safe. But I didn't know you guys at that point when I wrote that.
We were young. We could recover.
So we would set off the Geiger counter. That was the whole thing, is that we could put it in places and it would set it up, And then let's see, early evening, we had a meeting, discuss findings, discuss lists of requests and or questions. Yeah, because, so do you guys remember this? I don't know, did we do this? Where you guys could write questions or write requests and leave them outside and assign, that was part of it?
Yeah, we didn't really have any, but I think usually it was mostly for Tim and I dealing with the cameras.
Oh yeah.
It was like batteries and tape and just like, it was usually logistics.
Okay, and then let's see, you had the evening activity, set up the audio recording devices and ultrasound in the attic and the kitchen. Set motion detectors. Did you guys have motion detectors?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they had them.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
But I don't know if you used them, but we did have them. That I remember.
Look, prepare for bed and look at this. Quartet can't fall asleep. Look at how cocky I was.
We were all huddled together in the living room, terrified.
Talk and tell ghost stories, urban legends. You guys let me down there.
But we did. Didn't we start to do that?
Did you guys do
I
that?
put the sheet over my head at one point, and I was like, "Woo!"
We were like, I remember that in the living room we were talking about.
in the living room.
Hey, didn't you read my list? There's supposed to be no drugs or alcohol. Fall asleep. Oh, and then the clock would ring in the middle of the night. That's right, while you guys were sleeping. Or
why did you think we would be able to sleep in that?
Never slept. There was no way.
I was young and naive back. This is 1999.
Oh my gosh!
Back then.
But wait,
no COVID
Paul,
back then.
Paul, did we take photos? Like, where are the photos? Didn't we take photos?
Did you?
Yeah, we had a camera. Yeah.
Because we weren't going into each room. We had to take the temperature of the room.
Yeah.
We had all those things we had to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were taking photos, but what happened to the photos?
I don't know. I have photos of you. I'll have to look and see. I wonder if I have them because I have like that.
Did anyone look to see if there was a ghost on the photos? Is what I'm getting at.
I don't remember taking any photos.
But I think that was the idea. Yeah, I think that was one of the ideas is that you would take pictures at nighttime. Yes, actually, I come to think of it, that was one of the ideas is that you guys would take pictures, you put it out there, we would get them developed. Because this is way before, digital technology.
Right.
And we would get it developed and we would actually add in some like spectral bullshit into it and leave sorry, real stuff. I'm sorry. And leave those on the, and I think we were supposed to like leave them out in the morning for you guys or something like that, or just later on. Or 1 hour photo developing, I guess, and then maybe an hour later. Ooh, the clock rings and you guys on cue would freak out. And then you would pass out from exhaustion.
Yeah,
or maybe that was the exhaust from our engines. I don't know. So that was the end of Act 2. This is great. I have not seen this since probably 2000. Oh, now we have
Honestly, someone can take this right here and redo this. A new house. They've got the outline. Let's see what happens.
Yes, it's a reboot.
Oh, so anybody's doing these.
Someone should do it.
Everybody's doing
Guys,
reboots these days. So that's what we got here. Oh, look, you guys would shower and get ready. You would retrieve the canister and review. So the developed pictures, but nothing unusual. And we'd have the answers to your queries and new instructions, and you prepare for the next mission. I think they threw a lot of the stuff out. Oh, look at this. The barn. I guess this was before there was the location. So we were thinking that there'd be a location at a barn. Look at that. So enter the barn, take photographs, check for cold spots, take readings. I guess you would do it again. Return to the house no later than noon, and then place the film outside. Wow. I had a lot of it. This was when it was $1 million budget. Back then, that was $2 million. Let's see. Eat lunch, discuss findings, check recording devices, listening to recorded sound in kitchen. Oh, pre-recorded subtle noise. I guess we were gonna have some kind of pre-recorded thing or something. I don't know how we were planning on that one. And then the motion detectors would go off in the attic, and then you guys would diligently race to the attic, listen to the recorded sound in the attic. Then our burst of cold air, and then our psychic, that's you, Madison, attempts to channel the spirits. Wow, look at this. Holy shit.
The Ouija board. Get Ouija board and candles.
Yeah, look at this. Collect newly developed pictures, altered attic photo with light orb. The cameraman freaks out. That's whose cameraman? Was that Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you would discuss options, and then we let you eat because we're nice. Oh, here we go. Get the Ouija board and candles.
Candles with a bug in it. Thank you.
Set of candles, frankincense burned, begin the seance. Oh, so then we have light. Yeah, see, lights and shadows below. We would have lights somewhere else. The cameraman takes off. Oh, that's funny. Another burst of cold air. Oh, here we go. The finale. The trio exit the house.
Trio. So someone had left.
Yeah, the cameraman.
Yeah, the cameraman. Tim had went out. in my version.
Your version.
The trio exit the house, meet with Troy Taylor and young filmmaker. Payment of money to trio. You guys are going to get paid.
Well, they skipped that part, so yeah.
The quartet farewells to production, and then final interviews with you guys. Did we do that? Did we do exit interviews?
I don't think so.
No, because everyone was dead. Remember?
Yeah, that was the
right.
Yeah.
No. But you. Oh, yeah. But did we film? But that was in the reshoots.
No, because.
Go ahead.
But we only had interviews before.
Yeah, because Paul, did you go to the LA Film Festival screening?
No.
On Sunset Boulevard?
Nobody wanted a Charles in the box. Yeah, no, nobody wanted me to.
Okay, but that was before that was before they'd reshot stuff, right? That was in April.
Yeah.
And at that, the version that they showed was the version the original without reshooting anything. And there was 600 people. There was a line wrapped around the block to see it that night. That was at the LA Film Festival.
That was April, right? April.
That's technically where it premiered. Were you not there, Paul Salamoff? You weren't there for that?
I might have been. I don't remember.
I feel like you would have been. But
yeah, probably
that people didn't. They had told us they didn't want us to be introduced because usually at the film festival the cast would stand up and be introduced, but they were worried about that because they wanted people to think that we had died.
Oh,
but I think that would have been a news story if we had died. So I don't know. But that was the whole thing.
You think very highly of yourself.
I mean, hopefully somebody would have noticed. But yeah, that was well before we reshot.
I remember standing up though because I remember
we did. Yeah.
Because my landlord was there. I invited him, and and when they said my name, he stood up.
Yeah. You guys survived the original version. It was the reshoot that everybody died. You survived the original one, so you must have been okay.
Well, whatever that version was, I remember that they were worried about us standing up that night, and then we ended up. Someone called our names on the microphones, and we stood up.
It's so funny. But look at this. It was supposed to be a conclusion. What did we learn? And then a Wicca comes to clear the pit. What's this? On September 25th, the blank moved back into Elsley, man. Okay, that's hilarious. Look what I just found too. This is hilarious. These were all the gags.
Oh wow!
Oh, I got all this stuff. This is hilarious. Look at the other possible suggestions. Moaning.
We're sweating.
Walls sweating, walls bleeding. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Wait, Paul, I heard somebody call my name. It made it in the movie. I really, really heard it. How come it wasn't you? Who was it?
I don't know. It wasn't me.
There was a dead animal. There was like a dead bird. Remember?
Yeah, mutilated dead animal because I wrote it.
Oh my gosh.
You didn't used to just happen.
Right there. Oh my God.
This is a well-oiled machine. This is something that is planned for. We call that pre-production.
It's hilarious that for 20 years we had no idea.
You can read about it in my book on the set.
There needs to be a tell-all. Well, I guess
there is right here.
Wow.
This is so funny. Wow, what else do I have here? This is Jeebus. What's this 24-hour outline? Hold on. This is crazy. I got tons of shit in here.
Wow.
Okay, the following photography we shot. Oh, so this was just our schedule of shooting stuff.
This is the stuff that didn't make it in, it looks like, because I'm recommending St. Francisville here, according to what's up there now. This must have been the stuff that maybe didn't make it, your original plan.
This is so weird, some of this stuff here. What's this new introduction? Oh, this must be like my introduction here. Maybe no, not Photoshop. What? No, did not mean to do that.
Hey, Chris, Mike, Tyler, I actually just realized what time it is. I gotta run. So I thank you guys for this. And then Madison, Troy, and Paul, and Ryan, I'm just so glad that we got to hang out and chat. And Paul finally came clean, and I can now realize that ghosts aren't real.
I'm hoping now that you're the big filmmaker, you're so impressed with me that you're going to hire me.
PJ, congrats on everything. It's so exciting. I can't wait to see your film.
Yeah, we just released it. So go watch it. It's out there. And
thank you, PJ. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Madison, I'll see you later.
Take care, man.
Yes, appreciate your time.
Hey, wait, before you go, let's see if we can get together, guys. Not you, Troy. You're somewhere else.
I'm not close.
We'll Zoom Troy in.
There you go.
We should. Yeah, let's go grab dinner.
Yeah.
We should go grab dinner at some, Los Angeles, New Orleans style place or something. There's got to be a good
Louisiana crab.
Right. Didn't we run into each other at like one of the schools or something like that?
I did. Our kids,
yeah. Our kids are going to the same school together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. See, there's a happy ending.
Yeah, so we're all connected on
there we go.
I need to go. Speaking of kids, I need to go as well.
Yeah, I should probably attend to my child as well.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Guys, thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming and being a part of this.
Chris,
really fun.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for caring about. Thank you for caring about this movie 20 years later.
Thank you for being 12 to 15 when it came out.
That's right.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Should we all sign off? We say any final words, or are we all good?
Well, if you guys want to, before we end the show, you guys can go around and kind of like, if you have any projects coming up, or if anybody can find you on social media, if you want to plug anything in particular, where could our listeners find you?
Troy, you want to go first?
You can find me at AmericanHauntings.net. I don't have anything immediately coming out. I do a lot of book projects. I've got a book that's optioned for film now, which maybe hopefully will get made, but we'll see. We'll hold that out to the future. But yeah, so that's the easiest way to find me.
Awesome.
All right. Madison?
So you can find me on @mystic_Madison on Instagram, or my website, Mystic Madison. I have evolved into a Mystic Madison. Thank you to Paul's vision so long ago. And thank you so much for having me, guys. Really, it was really fun.
Thank you.
And then you can check out my website if you want at paulsalamoff.com. Like I said, I'm a working writer, producer, director. Check out my Saturn Award-winning film Encounter with Luke Hemsworth if you're like some good science fiction. And my graphic novel, Hired Guns, just came out literally like a month ago, which is cool. And I think that's Barnes and Nobles everywhere on Amazon and so forth. And yeah, I'm just still writing, and I've got some projects in the works right now, and actually starting up a new graphic novel. And if you want to check out my book On the Set, which is the 4th edition, and it has people like James Gunn in it, and Wes Craven, and Gale Ann Hurd, and Lynn Shay, and
Wow.
you name it. It's used in film schools around the world, and this is the 4th edition. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and there you go.
Hey, guys, check everybody out. Go on there and follow their stuff, and watch their new movies and their new projects, and support everybody. And guys, again, Madison, Troy, Paul, thank you all for coming along our show and reuniting the cast back together again. This is like the first time that all of you guys together have been online together, I believe, like in a podcast forum or a reunion forum. So we really appreciate it, and it was just a blast to talk to you guys. We love all you guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Yes, to see you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.